Okay, so normally I don't play these instruments until I'm done repairing them and show you what happens, but this is special. This is a Yamaha FG-180 red label that was brought to me by a customer, covered in dust, hadn't been played in years and years and years. Now these FG-180s, the red labels, they were made between 1966 and 74. This one was born on April 4th, 1971. So when Yamaha made these, they wanted to replicate the Martin D18 to get that full sound. So they achieved that. Anyways, the reason I'm doing this is because this was a special job. It was a miracle for me to actually do, because what it needed when I got it home on the bench was a neck reset, and those run you up around $700 and more with a local luthier, depending. So this guy's, there's no way he's gonna pay that kind of money. So what I did was a workaround and took down the saddle as much as I could, restringed it. It was too low, so then I shaved down the bridge itself, which was no big deal. You can't notice it because of the oil I put on over. Took the saddle down more. Had to end up shimming up the nut. And the truss rods in these they're not Allen key or ball heads. They're 8mm sockets. You either need a special wrench, or what I did is made one just by grinding down an 8mm socket and a hand drive. So anyways, before the repair video gets started, this is the sound I'm getting out of this, and this is all when I finished doing the major work that it needed. I did the old fret job, settings, everything I do for my Sepetember special, dressing, fret leveling, polishing, everything. That's what it sounds like. Pretty good to me, and he's going to be pretty happy when he finally plays this after probably decades. So there's always a workaround for an expensive job to cut it down, and I didn't charge him any extra. I charged him $100 for the Sepetember's deal on fretting and all dressing and everything. So here's the repair, folks, and don't forget to bring your guitars into Dodge City Musical Instrument Repair and Restoration. So as you see, this is what they call a red label Yamaha. If you look at the serial number, it's probably hard for you to see there. The first number is the year, so because these red label guitars were only made from 66 to 72, the first number indicates what year, so it's either 61 or 71. So I'm guessing a 71, and then the next number, 04, would be April, and 08 would be April 8th. So April 8th, 1971, I'm thinking. And it's a shame that this might Sorry, I lost my camera. So it's a shame that this might need a saddle reset, but that's looking at between $500 and $700, taking the neck off and ungluing it and shimming and blah blah blah. So this guy's not into that kind of money, so what I'm gonna do here is just do a cheap fix. Take that saddle out, and then I'll have to do a measurement here, because this should actually, that should slip across the neck right up and over, so you can tell how high up it's been. So I'm going to shave this down here, just using sandpaper, and I'll oil it up afterwards. I'm going to take some measurements first and make a mark, and once that's down, then I will take the saddle and I'll file it down also, just to give him some better action, save him $500 or $600, and we'll see what happens after I'm done there. But first I'm going to do these 1, 2, I think there's only 3 frets that are high on this, but it was the action and the saddle raising that did more, like I think I showed you before. It's really not good at all. And that's really high. So anyways, I'll get on it, and then we'll put some finish on there, and you won't even know it's been done. Okay, so I put a couple of strings on, a high and a low E, and the only way this guitar is going to play without having a $700 job is I put this in and marked it. This is how much is going to have to come off. You know, I mean, that's almost, I'll just try to show you. Using my angle and here, you're pretty much going to have to take off that much all the way along. Right at different heights, but there's going to be a hell of a lot taken off. I've got thinner ones, they don't even fit in there, so even with shims. I'll see if I can try a couple of shims first, but most likely I'll end up taking the original one down. This is a hell of a job. Okay, so if any of you luthiers or guitar mechanics are watching, you probably say I'm nuts and I'm fucked up. You'd be right. So I marked a line across here with my tri-square, and that's what I'm going to take off. This was only supposed to be a fret dressing, my special for Sepetember, crowning, fret leveling, dressing, neck polish. But instead of a $500 to $700 saddle job, I'm going to try to take this saddle down, and if I have to shave more off of the bridge, then I will. But yeah, so I'm going to use this fine 120 grit sanding to get as close as I can. So yeah, I'm nuts. just gonna get a mask, put a mask on. There you go, using a mask's gonna be a little better. Until I get it down.
Okay, that was fun. Leave this on for a minute, but I'm going to finish the rust off by file and sandpaper. Get it nice and smooth. And try it out. That's all a madman can do. So I'm working on it with a file now. I don't have my vise nailed down to the table, so... One spot here that it's the clamps, the vise not working right, so... Getting there. Anyways, I'll show you when I'm finished.
Okay, so I sanded the bridge down and the saddle to maximum. And I've also sanded the old nut, took a heat gun to it to get it off. And I put a shim, a couple of little tiny pieces of wood you can see there sticking out. Once they're glued, I'll cut them off to length, glue the nut back on, we should have some pretty good action. And because I've already put 2 strings on it, the high and the low E, and the action was good all the way up, so this will work, and saves the dude $700. So let's wait and see until this is all glued back together, and I'll be back. Okay, so sometimes I even amaze myself. Like I showed you before, I took the saddle down, shaved the bridge down, trying to get some action rather than doing a $700 reset. Got this bridge all shimmed up. It's kind of hard to tell now, but put the strings on it, an old set, and the action was good and everything, so instead of just using my plate guards this time, I'm gonna go all out and tape it up and give it a good sanding, polishing and everything, and have this guitar looking I wouldn't say brand new, but for 1971 pretty damn good, and it's gonna play nice too. I'll be back. So this is my ingenious way of, the only way I could figure out how to get a little bit of a bow into this is put a heavy socket set and my vise on the neck. I left that overnight, and this morning I put some steam under it, give it some relief. And it turned out that by the time I flipped her over and got everything off, there was enough of a, you know, like a 64th probably bow, whereas when I put the strings back on, it pulled it just perfect. So there's my little neck reset job. Weights. As you see, these old vintage Yamahas, they didn't come with your average truss rod tightener, as in an Allen key or a ball end or anything like that. They came with a, you had to buy a special tool. It's an 8mm nutting tool for this kind of job, but I just took a 8mm socket and grinded it down so I could just get it in there enough to turn it. I didn't take much off this at all, and so that did it. I don't want to turn it anymore because I'm just demonstrating. So that's what you deal with rather than your regular Allen key or pulled end wrench. Anyways, we'll get back at her.